Hello, and yes, back on the run this week, having had a full week off last week, and yesterday was actually a bank holiday, so I had 6 days, 6 working days off, or 10 days in total, and I didn't actually do any driving in that 10 days. The van didn't move, didn't drive anything else, so it's quite nice to have a break from driving. As much as I quite enjoy driving, it's nice every now and then to have a good solid break. So I was back in North Wales for a good chunk of it, spending time with my sons, seeing family, and all that kind of stuff, and friends. So just before I go into this week, I think if you're self-employed, it's quite easy to fall into a trap. It's just work, 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 because the more you work, the more you get paid, kind of thing. Whereas if you just, as I've used to be, as most people are, just working for somebody, pay as you earn, PAYE, doing whatever, you obviously get so many holidays to take, so I think it's healthy every now and then to have at least like a solid week off. Quite often been taking like the odd day off, making it a long weekend, but there's no substitute really for a good solid at least a week off. So yeah, actually feeling quite refreshed and raring to go for the end of the year. Going to push through now until Christmas. I've only got one Friday that I'm planning to take off, see what else happens, but planning to work every day. I think that's most of the bank holidays done now, if not all, until Christmas. Yeah, so that was pretty nice. Raring to go, kind of. So anyway, this week, fuel prices. I think the fuel prices did dip down a bit. It seemed to be going slightly back up again, which is annoying. But just can't do anything about it. It's just what it is. So my Shell card through UK Fuels, that is 105.6 this week, and then the BWOC or BWOC card, which is their C4D or Control for Diesel, their own card that uses the Key Fuels network. This week that's 104.76. I haven't worked out what that is with VAT. I'll put it on the screen. So I'll be using that one today. This week, the BWOC card. So just a 4-day week this week. As I say, yesterday was Monday, bank holiday. I was painting my shed. So this morning, Tuesday, I started looking literally at 10:05, just after 10. I've bid on 2 jobs today and I got both of them. And when I logged on this morning at about 10, there was nearly 50 jobs on the feed. So it looked busy. Being a 4-day week normally makes it a bit busier. I don't know how busy it was last week. I didn't even log in or anything like that. I just had a total break from it. So the first job I got was from Birmingham going to Leeds. It's 114 miles loaded, long wheelbase. I quoted 113, which including getting there was just like high 80 pence a mile, or miles. Got the job, but then sometimes there's a minute or two delay before it gets sent through. I think they just put in all the details on the job. Sometimes they just come through like that second, but this one, it's starting to come through after like 7 minutes, because I looked at my phone call first and said it was 7 minutes since they rang me. So I rang them up, because yeah, it should be with you, I've done it, blah blah blah. I'll try and do it again. So I knew roughly where I was going, so I started heading off, drove for 5 minutes, pulled over, rang them and said, I still not had it, because I don't like to go to a pickup unless I've got confirmation, because that's kind of like their purchase order for my services. So if it's a shipper I know, I quite often I'll do it, but I've never worked for these before, I don't think. And basically I was on the phone talking, and he realised what he'd done wrong. He'd put some details in wrong, so he'd cocked it up basically, and eventually sorted it out. Came to me. Don't know if this guy was new or just on a bad day, I don't know. It said on the job notes 2 packages, 240 kilograms, no dimensions or anything. Turned up to collect it, and it looked like this. Have a look at this one. Yep, that wasn't going in this van, so I actually measured it. I was carrying a tape measure with me, so I thought I'll measure it. I'll tell them exactly how big it is and what truck they need, kind of thing. Or suggest one. So it's 241 centimeters long, 224 centimeters wide, and 45 centimeters high. So that is not going on a long wheelbase van. It won't even fit in Luton curtain side. It'd be too wide. Most of them are about just over 2 meters, so it'd be sticking out the side each side. That's going to need a 7.5 ton minimum, which is like 2.5 normally wide. So a curtain sider for side entry. So I rang them up, said this ain't gonna work, and they said yeah, fair enough. I normally charge 25 quid cancellation, but I'd driven into Birmingham, which is like 16 miles, and with the faffing round, them taking so long to actually get the confirmation to me, it's like an hour and 20 minutes. So I said asked for 30 quid, and they gave me 30 quid. So got like £2 a mile, but it wasted a lot of time. I was keen to get going. So I pulled up outside, checked the feed. It's one of those things now. I after I finish a job, I always upload a POD straight away, do all that, create my invoice, set my status to available again. I find it's best just to do it then. It takes a couple of minutes rather than leave it to the end of the day, because the shipper might want to see the pod and then they'll start ringing you, because they might need to send it to their customer. And it's just good to do it as you go along, I find, and not leave it. And when I go into the feed now, there's that many jobs, it's like the jobs are pinging up. So I like to normally go through what jobs are already on there and then start to look at jobs that I've started pinging up while I've been looking. It's kind of that busy. It's like I just don't bother looking at what's on there now. Just look at what's coming up. And the bid on the job. So I was at that point. I was thinking I need a decent job now, because it's like midday, getting towards midday. And I'm on 30 quid. A job picking up in Lichfield, WS13, which I was about 20 miles from, 40 minutes. Going down to Milton Keynes, and then that was today, and then the second drop is in the morning to Widnes. So that's the job I did. Yeah, I got it. Quoted 227. The guy rings me up and goes, what's on with the price? And I'm like, what do you mean? Am I so too cheap? And he goes, no, I just don't get 227 thinking. We'll just call it 225, maybe, just like round numbers. But yeah, it's just I'll do 225. I picked it up, had a bit of time to get to the collection, that one, bit of time to kill, so made a few phone calls. No, actually I didn't. I left them till later, but just went and got my dinner. Got a Tesco meal deal. Collected some big warehousey place, and then I was taking some electrical items, one pallet, down to meeting some engineers down Milton Keynes, telecommunication engineers at Mast. They took some parts of this pallet that they obviously needed urgently, and then the rest of it I'm taking in the morning to Widnes. So it's drop off there between 7:30 and 9:30. I'm going to try and get it dropped before 8:30, and that's like not a ridiculously early start, but drop before 9, so I'll count as today's. So that's 225 and 30 for the first cancelled job, for 255 for the day. So that's not bad really. Back on the run, busy, so yeah, that's it so far. Alright, Wednesday evening now, just after 8. As you can tell, twilight time. Slightly better. So yeah, the nights are definitely drawn in now. I've had that week off, so it was getting dark just after 9. Now it's like pretty much dark at 8. So yeah, autumn's on its way. But anyway, this morning I got that job finished from yesterday. Drove up to Widnes, straightforward drive. Tipped it by about 8:30, so I counted it as yesterday's job, because tipped before 9, that's my cut-off, as I mentioned before. Parked outside, got a job by 9 o'clock. Very busy to feed up there that time of morning. The job was picking up in Warrington. It's actually a short wheelbase job going down to Crawley. I worked out, including getting there miles, 85 pence. I think it was £207. Actually went at 217 and got it for 230 something loaded miles, which is, you know, reasonable money for a short wheelbase job, and a good long job too. When I went and picked it up from just some industrial unit, it was 13 boxes that had to be handballed on, but you know, they put them on the back of the end of the van and I just put them where I wanted them. They were medical test devices, scanner type things. Apparently, if you're rapid flow COVID testing are the machines that do that. But according to the guy, they can also test for all sorts of stuff like prostate cancer and a few other things he mentioned. Apparently, really shit hot machines. Didn't say how much they were, but he said they were very expensive. I had 30 of them in a van. And it was going to Crawley, and it turned out when it got there, it said you had to go to Crawley Airport, which, you know, Gatwick Airport. Yeah, it's Gatwick. So I thought, oh, bugger, airport delivery, not the best, but anyhow, just get it done. But actually turned out alright. I had a clear run down there by a bit of traffic on the M25, which is standard, bit slow moving traffic. And it was not delivered to the airport itself, but they were setting up a test station in one of the airport parking places. So it was just like an airport, private company airport parking place. Met a guy there, quick tip as well, so yeah, that was pretty good. Parked up outside there. Down there to feed, to be honest, because I was in Crawley, so my radius from there was taken in. I was still getting jobs from like Slough and stuff, so like West London, Heathrow way, and then obviously all of South London at least, and down towards Maidstone and stuff. And it was exactly crazy busy, not like it was in the northwest, but then it was about lunchtime-ish, so it would have calmed down anyway. Yeah, and got a job. There's a job on there pinged up from Arundel. I was quite far from it. I was like 39 miles from it. I was 39 miles from it. It's 40 miles loaded. Short wheelbase job again. Went in at 67, which was a shade over 85 pence a mile, all miles. Didn't think I'd get it, but got it. Not a massive job, but another job that just like 67 quid. It didn't work out great in terms of pounds per mile, because it was like probably less than 25 pounds an hour, I should say. But it got me kind of away from Crawley and away from London down towards Southampton, where I tipped, and that was just 24 lengths of aluminium, like aluminium extruded profile that'll be machined from some place that makes that stuff, to a place that makes canopies, another factory. I turned up there, I think it was after normal delivery hours, but some guy took it. Apparently it should have gone this morning with a load, and it got left out, and they needed it urgently for tomorrow, so hence why they called in the couriers. Yes, I tipped in Southampton about 6, so I started at 7 this morning, so that's, you know, an 11-hour day. That's enough really, because I'm not feeling for some reason 100%. Got a bit of a bad head the last few days. Must be the shock of going back to work. Yeah, so I had fried rice, chicken fried rice, one of the better ones I've had of late. And I've just been for a mooch around this park, pretty close to where I tipped, Riverside Park. Just have a quick look at this. Yeah, so just a 15-minute walk around there, quite nice after my dinner tea. For tomorrow, I'm going to kind of like into Southampton here, so I don't even want to be trying to get out of Southampton in the morning if I get a job like further away. I think I'm better off going back towards the motorways, the M27, M3. So I'm going to go to Eastleigh, which is kind of like right next to where the M3 comes down and joins the M27. There's a retail park there. I'm hoping it's not restricted parking. Don't think it is from what I've looked on Google Maps. So I'm going to head there. It's going to be a 4-mile drive, but worth doing. And obviously there's a Sainsbury's there, so I can use their facilities. So that is Wednesday done. So 2 good days so far. I think I'm about just 90 to 100 quid ahead of schedule. So I try to, like I say, try to do a minimum 220 a day. I'm probably on close to 270 a day for the first 2 days. That's pretty good. Right, Thursday evening now, about 20 to 9, and it's dark outside. Currently in Roster, I think that's how you pronounce it. So it looks like Rochester, but it's without the H, so I think it's pronounced Roster in Staffordshire. In the Village Hall car park, this is where I'm going to tramp tonight. So 3 jobs today. Good day actually. So I started looking at jobs about 7:30, down in near Eastleigh, near Southampton, bottom of the M3. It's a bit slow, but it was like 7:30. But I thought it's a bit slower than I was kind of expecting it. So I thought, right, I can't be too fussy where I'm going here. The job comes up. Yeah, basically, you just can't be too fussy. And a job pinged up about, well, I got it at 8:30. From Eastleigh, not far from where I was, like a few miles, going to London W3, which is like the bottom of the A40, just inside the North Circular. So I thought that's not too bad. And it turned out to be not too bad at all, traffic-wise. Not getting into that inner part of London, and I'm still really nervous and anxious now about all these low traffic neighbourhoods and no cars and no vans and all that stuff, and getting tickets through the post. But hopefully I didn't go for any. I'm trying to keep my eyes peeled, but you try and watch every junction for a sign. It's, yeah, maybe you should do it. Like, who really does that? And like, there's that many junctions in London. Anyway, yeah, so picked it up. What the hell was it? Yeah, it was some kind of machinery. It was from like a plumbing suppliers, and it was some kind of cooling unit, I think, something to do with air conditioning. And if you saw the photo I put on the first job on Monday that was cancelled, it was a similar kind of thing. It was like a pallet with like a wooden frame, slats around it, but a lot smaller, and 4 of us lifted it into the van, no trouble. Got it strapped up, delivered it to a food factory in an industrial estate. Typical kind of London industrial estate, no parking anywhere, and loads of things about parking, loads of notices everywhere. But luckily one of the units was empty, so I just parked in their car park to look up for jobs. And then for some reason CX was glitchy, I would say, at that time of day for some reason. So I tried, it was just slow, like, so a job would ping up. It was only showing 17 jobs for my feed, and I thought there's got to be more than that. I think for some reason it was on the go slow. Occasionally it happens. Tried closing the app and then reopening it, that didn't work. Tried turning my phone off, and that didn't work. And other apps, Google Maps and stuff, were all working fine. Yeah, so it was the CX actually. And then the job from the morning, they put one on from sort of Guildford way, which I was quite far from, going up to Leicester, outskirts of Leicester, LE18. So I went in a bit keen on this because I was quite far from it. It was actually 120 miles, and I priced at 127, and it was, I think it was a medium wheelbase job. It might have even been a short wheelbase. And I got it, so that's over £1 a mile. But because I had quite a drive to get to it, it was only 82 pence a mile all in. But anyway, happy to get it. Get the heck out of London. Went and picked it up. That was just one pallet, not even sure what it was on it, to be honest. Just it was wrapped in black plastic, and it went to another industrial unit. Get them like that sometimes, no idea what it was really. No paperwork, so I just did one of my own notes and just write one pallet. That's all you can do. And yeah, I think this place I went to was something installation, so it might have been something to do with shop fitting or something like that. From there, watched the feed. No trouble parking outside this place. And I was just going through the jobs, thinking, right, done okay for money for the day, definitely ahead of schedule. And then I noticed there was a job on there from Hinckley, which I was like 35-minute drive from, to Uttoxeter ST14. It was a JCB job. It's not with the normal JCB job, but I've noticed lately it's the second job I've done for this company to JCB. I think that JCB are using another courier now as well as their normal one. Maybe just because they're busier, or maybe just they weren't getting the service from the original one. I don't know. But it said it was 60 miles loaded, but it actually turned out to be more like 50, low 50s. And I had a bit of a drive to get there, but it said pays £110. It was a long wheelbase job. So in terms of loaded miles, it actually turned out to be £2 a mile, but all miles including getting there. So I said a 35-minute drive to get there was still close to 150, I think. So that was pretty good. Yeah, and I got to JCB, obviously got terrible reputation. I was probably there about 45 minutes, which isn't the end of the world, and the pickup was pretty good, even though it was quite hard to find a place once I found it. It was loaded in 5 minutes, 5-10 minute job. Yeah, so that was it. While I was waiting to get into JCB, I checked the feed for jobs for the morning for the area, and there was a job ST10, which is kind of like just to the west of where I am now, like a bit in the middle of nowhere, going up to Leeds. That was 97 miles. I was 7 miles from it, 104, priced at 115 and got it, but it is 1 ton. So yeah, it's getting up towards fully loaded for me. And I've got that in the morning, picking up at 7. It's about 15-minute drive from here. But I've checked on Google Maps, isn't because it's in the countryside. It's like a quarry. Looks like I'm probably going to get like bags of aggregate, I think, on a pallet. I've looked on Google Maps on Earthview. There's no like good lay-bys or lay-bys set back from the road that I could sleep in. I'm in quite a good place now. I normally like to get really close to my pickup in the morning, the night before, and tramp. But I'm just, because it's only like 15 minutes, I'm in a really good spot here. I'm just going to tramp here tonight. On a flat car park, really quiet, away from the road. So yeah, that's it. So today's gone really well. 322 quid. I think I've worked out 295 miles, so over £1 a mile today. I've also worked out after tomorrow's job, which is paying over £1 a mile, all miles, my overall pence per mile for the week is going to be 99 pence up until that point when I get to Leeds and tip. So I should get to Leeds about between 9 and 10. And it being Friday, I then need to get back to the West Midlands, get a job back to the West Midlands, or pretty close. That'll be the plan. Yes, it's going really well this week. Made my target already, well, with tomorrow's job, and hopefully get another job after that. But that's it so far. Right, Friday evening now, 7 PM, so mostly filmed in the van today. So not particularly interesting places I've been this week. Some not quite nice driving today and yesterday on the way to JCB from Leicester Way. I haven't done that before. It's quite nice countryside. Anyway, this morning, I went over to that quarry, picked it up. I kind of thought it's a 1 ton pallet. What's it going to be? It's probably going to be bags of sand. I can see off Google Maps had a bagging plant there, but no, it wasn't. It was basically the screed, dry screed, DSM, dry screed mix, I think it stands for. When you go to these building sites, you see the little silos in the corner. So they make their mortar, dry screed mortar, I think it is. Them little silos you see in the corner, this is the place where supplies all them kind of thing. And it was a pallet with like a normal bulk bag on it. Like you'd get sand or gravel from the builder's merchant, but sealed at the top. And apparently it was pigment. So obviously to get this mortar the right colour for the bricks or whatever. Yes, so anything with a 1 ton pallet in this, even though I've still got like 200-ish kilograms more I can take. Problem with one pallet is getting a weight distribution. But thankfully they had one of these fancy JCB forklifts, which is kind of not a telehandler like a farmer would use. The big thing's just like a normal size forklift, but the actual forks move forward, it can extend forward, like telescopic as well. so that's quite handy because they were able to put it a lot further into the van, so the weight distribution was fine. Over to Leeds, pretty straightforward, bar 10 minutes stationary on the M1 for some reason. Seems to happen quite a lot, that you get stopped like literally stationary for like 5 or 10 minutes. I think it's normally when they're clearing stuff off the road. Dropped it to another DSM plant for the same quarry group on the outskirts of Leeds. That wasn't a quarry place, it was, I think, just, you know, big hub kind of thing, much bigger place. Yeah. Parked up round the corner, started looking at the feed. Took me 5 minutes to get another job. It's one of these jobs where I wouldn't have gone for it, but then the shipper had put a price on it, and the price on it was quite generous because we're obviously struggling to sell it. I think the reason I was struggling to sell it was picking up Normanton, and then going down to Stockport, one drop in Stockport, one Shrewsbury. So I think the fact it was going to Shrewsbury, they're going to struggle, plus it's just busy. 4-day week, it's got busier anyway, and it's a Friday, so yeah, busy. Shippers quite often struggling to sell jobs. Today I think, when they picked it up, how much was it? It pays 130 quid, it said, and it was something like 112 miles or something. But a few miles to get to it, so it's 136 miles in total, so it's about 95 pence a mile. It was actually a short wheelbase job, but it would have easily fitted in a small van. It was parts. A few weeks ago I did parts going back to like the UK headquarters for a car manufacturer. It was the same thing, it was the same sort of logistics company I picked up from, a different depot, and this time it wasn't going to like the rejects or whatever, returns. It was just going straight out to a dealer. So I delivered to a dealer in Stockport and then a dealer in Shrewsbury. Yeah. And in Shrewsbury I thought, oh, I'm not far from home, that's pretty much why I took it. I worked out 37 miles from home then, and I'd done just over 1100 quid, which is well ahead for the target for 4 days is minimum 880, and then target for a full 5-day week is to go for a minimum 1100. So I've done a 5-day week in 4 days, which I find quite often happens on a 4-day bank holiday week because it's busier, you just earn more. And you kind of like, you get that day off for free, so it's quite nice actually. And I worked out, even if I drove home empty from there, it would have been on still 95 pence a mile for the week. So I thought I'd give it, so I tipped there about 20 past, half past 2 maybe, by the time I'd done all the upload to the CX and the pod and stuff. I thought I'd leave it till 4, and I've not got anything, I'll drive home. I was hoping a job I've been done a few times from Telford to Hales Owen would pop up. Either I missed it or it didn't pop up, or I went for another job before and I got a job at 3:30, picking up on the outskirts of Shrewsbury, going to Craven Arms. And it actually took me slightly further away from home, but it was 30 miles all in, small van job. One little box, from a parcel place to a private residence, apparently some kind of medical supplies. 30 miles all in for 45 quid. I quoted 50, says you can only do 45 because I haven't got much on a job, so I said okay, I'll do it. So kind of bit of extra money for the week. Got me down to Craven Arms, which is a beautiful drive down the A49 past past the Shropshire Hills, and then delivered it Craven Arms, and then drove cross country back through Bridgnorth and then through Wolverhampton home. So it kind of put me a few miles from where I tipped at, but I don't enough for it still to be worthwhile. But still kind of, should I have bothered, or should I have just drove straight home from Shrewsbury, had an early finish? But then I've said to myself now, after I've had a bit of a easygoing time of it over the summer and that week off last week, now I'm kind of like earn as much as I can up between now and till Christmas. So I need to be in the mentality of, yeah, if I can do it and I can squeeze it in, do it. It's all money and it all adds up. So that was a day. So it was 115 for the first job, 130 for the second, and 45 for the last one. And I'll add it up in a summary. yeah, so really positive week. Good to be back on a run. Feeling really fresh going into the week, but Monday, Tuesday, I just felt a bit under the weather. Shaking that off, but now end of the week, I'm a bit tired. So looking forward to an easy weekend and then back to it Monday. But of course, before that is the summary. Right, summary time. Early evening on a Sunday now. So about time I got this filmed and got it uploaded. Anyway, yeah, so 4 days on a run this week because Monday was obviously bank holiday. 3 nights out, that means. So I'd spent the first night at home and then 2 nights in the back of the van. Fine, no issue going back in the van after a week off. It's quite comfy, to be honest, my bed now. So Tuesday, just go straight into numbers. Tuesday, 2 jobs, 30, which is the cancellation, and 225, which is 255 for the day. Wednesday, 2 jobs, 217 and 67, which is 284 for the day. Thursday, 3 jobs, best day of the week, 85, 127 and 110, which is 322. And yeah, pretty good day on a Friday as well. 3 jobs, 115, 130 and 45, which is 290, which comes to a total of 1,151, which I haven't divided that by 4, which I should have done before. It's close to 300. I'm going to put it on the screen. I haven't done my figures properly this week. Obviously, I'm not back up to speed yet. Mileage was 1,201, which works out at a pence per mile, all loaded miles from leaving here on the Tuesday to finishing the week, getting back on the Friday, of 95.8 pence a mile. So that's pretty good. Good numbers, as I mentioned in the previous thing I filmed. I try and do a minimum of, over the week, average to minimum of 220 per day. And over a 5-day week, that's 1,100 quid. So I managed to do what I try and do as a minimum for a 5-day week in 4 days. But bank holiday weeks are like that. They are busier. I think you just got like 5 days worth of work, available jobs squashed into 4 days. I quite often find that's the case. It works out well. Additional costs, non-standard additional costs. I think I went over the Mersey flow once, so that's like 2 quid. That's about it for the week. So once I've worked out what I took for the week, plus the VAT I get to keep, which I treat as income because the taxman treats it as income, so I treat it as income. And then minus my additional costs at £2, minus my fixed cost is £20 a day, which is 80 quid for the week, and then minus my variable costs, which is 30 pence a mile, which covers fuel, van depreciation, maintenance, all that stuff. That's 30 pence a mile. Leaves me with £800 for the 4 days, pre-tax profit, which I consider like my wages if I was in a normal job, which is £200 a day, which is obviously really good because I did good money total for each day, like say nearly 300 per day, and 95.8 pence a mile is a good all miles rate. So I think since I've been doing it this way, my little book, keeping track, anyway, that £200 profit per working day. So that's not my take home. I still got to pay income tax, national insurance on that because I'm a sole trader. That is my best, I think, that I've done, certainly since I've been recording it. So a really good day, really good week. Didn't go to anywhere particularly interesting, but did drive through a fair bit of nice countryside. And just, yeah, good to get back going. As I said earlier, it's good. That week really did help me, refresh me, and I am now pushing properly. Not tourist mode anymore, kind of focusing more on, maximising my income. So that's it for the week. I hope you enjoyed your week off from my vlogs. Going into the winter, I will start filming other stuff, I think, because obviously nights are drawing in now. In the summer, when it's quite nice, I spend the evenings when I get time checking out places I end up. in the winter, obviously, it's going to get dark like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. By the time I finish work, it's going to be dark, so I won't be doing that. And I'm going to try and do a few more guide sort of videos, maybe even do a live Q&A and stuff like that. Try and mix it up a bit. I might make these a bit shorter and a bit more of a highlights thing rather than go into as much detail as I do. But anyway, yeah, as ever, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up if you like it, if not a thumbs down, but preferably a thumbs up. Any comments or any tips from me or anyone else who watches this video, please put them below. I do try and respond to them all. I don't, sometimes it's like a week before I get around to it, but yeah, you know. Anyway, cheers for watching.